Right, calm down. I've stopped swearing at TVs, shouting at walls. That was a sickener, and there's not much we can do about it. It was a classic heartbreaking performance from Newcastle United. And somehow I'm going to give ratings for the players. My name is Emil. Welcome to another episode for the Always Smiling Faces YouTube channel, Gallagher Shots. That thing that them lads talk about in a pub. What is it called? There's no one there. I'm just doing it for effect. Anyway, let's get on with it. I'm clearly going mad. Martin Dubravka, nice place to start. A man who is just consistently performing for us, and it was a typical game from him. Some great saves, and there really wasn't much he could do for the two goals that Wolves did score. He was left so exposed, and I imagine that he'll be pretty unhappy with his defenders. The saves he did make were great. The one he made from Doherty, I was jumping up and down and screaming about it, was brilliant. And it's just a standard performance from him. Real shame that we lost it. It wasn't his fault. I'm going to give him an 8 because it's a blessing that we've got Dubravka in that goal. He keeps us in the games, even though it's only like by a small margin if we do lose. Yedlin, right, okay, so I reckon he had a lot to answer for with that first goal. I initially was going to blame it all on Lascelles, but I looked and I watched it back and I realised that he just left Jota as soon as he got to the penalty box. For some reason, he just gave up marking him. Whatever went wrong. And then Yedlin did that thing which I absolutely hate. Richie used to do it, where he kind of pointed and said, well, I was doing this. Oh, well, I was doing that. Oh, well, you should have been doing it. No, no, no. You are meant to be tracking that play. You're meant to be doing something in defence. Yes, you're good going forward. We've addressed this over the last few weeks. But please, man, do something. And now, of course, we don't have him for the next game, so God knows what's going to happen. The red cards, yeah, bit controversial, I guess, because you could say that his shirt was getting pulled, but really, the first touch that Yedlin made, he should have been getting rid of that immediately. And I know Mankilo gave him a pretty rubbish ball in the first place, but that first touch sent him off. Yedlin panicked, he started tugging his shirt, and with that, you're just tempting fate with Mike Dean, playing with fire, really. Poor game from Yedlin, got sent off, and yeah, 4, sorry. Lascelles, now, I kind of predicted this before he came back into the team. I love our captain, don't get me wrong, the stuff he's done and the things he said and everything like that, can't fault him, but these last 2 games, he's not the same player. I don't know if it's him just getting back into it or because like he did show glimmers later in the game of that classic defensive style that he likes to play, and don't get me wrong, that's there, but he's missing something. Like, even though Yedlin left him for that first goal, he didn't deal with Jota. He panicked with the ball at his feet. Similar thing happened against Everton with Richarlison getting it off him. Both goals, he backed off as well. You know, Jota as well. He could have gone in so many times. And he struggled with the counter-attacks. And it makes you wonder, obviously we had Shea suspended for this game. He wouldn't really shy away from those tackles because we've seen him do it in the last few weeks. So Lascelles, he needs to start competing for that position, armband or not. Just because he's captain, it doesn't mean he's protected from Rafa's selections. And I think that obviously that will show as weeks go on. I reckon we might not see much of Lascelles if we can obviously keep the next player fit. Lascelles, 5. I'm going to give him, because it was him and Yedlin were really the worst 2 on the pitch. Fernandez, again, very contrastingly, he was the strongest link at the back, as we know. He had some pretty good, decent headers going forward as well. One really did trouble their keeper. Shame it didn't really go in. He can be a threat at both ends, and there were some cracking tackles too that stopped their attacks, but we didn't have miss it in the second half. When he went off, it was just horrible. Gutted, to be honest. Let's hope it's just not serious. For what we did see, I'll give Fernandez 7. He was replaced by Mankio. He got a full half of football. But, you know what? I don't think that Mankilo really is the worst we've seen him. However, this was the worst type of team for him to be up against. It was similar to Yedlin, decent going forward, but his ball back to Yedlin, as I mentioned, was rubbish, and that led to the red card. It showed how he gets flustered and that he's just not good enough for that team. I know at the minute we're struggling with injuries and suspensions, so not much we can do when there's no investment in that team, but 5 for Mankio. Clark, now I didn't really see much of him, however, kind of giving it a bit of thought to see what other people have said. I think that he was just part of that whole defence as like a group in struggling with their counter-attacks. Wolves were very pacey. And that being said, you know, he did provide a bit more of a level head than Lascelles with clearances. He's still good cover, but defence is just dismantled right now. Clark, going to give him a 6. Atsu, Not as much of a problem as he was against Everton. The creativity's there and it's clear, but it didn't really come to anything. There was one really good thing where he put the ball into Rondon, and it was unlucky that we didn't get a goal there, to be honest. He did go a bit quiet, I think, after we were pushed into that tighter game with 10 men, but he went off and didn't really do much wrong. I'll give him a 7 because I think the effort was there, and I like to see the fact that Atsu's making use of his time while he's in that team. Certainly doing more than Kennedy, who replaced him. You want someone with his ability to come on and change a game from the bench. Yeah, he changed it for us because he didn't do anything when Doherty was running down that line. Did you see how fast he bloody ran? Kennedy should have been on there, fresh pair of legs. Like, there should have been some urgency there. It was ridiculous. A lot to blame with that second goal, but not really enough time on the pitch to judge him properly. Key cemented his place in that team. Now, obviously, we've heard about Shelby's little knock. I don't know. I think that he'd still keep his place key, to be honest. He looked calm, picked up balls from a lot of the attacks when Wolves couldn't get that final pass away, which was really their weakest link. And that played to his strengths. However, there was a bit of a wasted free kick where he didn't really do much with it. It went sailing over the bar. I don't think he had a bad game, but he was cut out of it, so I'll give him a 6, and it leads us nicely onto Diarme, who I think was similar to Key. Wolves largely took the wings when they were countering, and if anything, he didn't have time to catch them. He was left in the box where he was trying to do stuff from set pieces, from attacks. It was a standard game where he was cut out, frozen out of it. Give him a 6 as well. Richie, I think this was a good reintroduction. You know, no real change from him from missing a game midweek. Passionate, hungry to be in that team. Everything that you want from a player who might have perhaps lost his place to Atsu given the game he had against Everton. That being said, he was another one. I can't believe how many players were involved in that final move from Wolves that just let Doherty and Jota get past him. Richie did let him get past, but I think that Richie was probably more concerned at watching what Jota was doing and wondering at Lascelles, why haven't you tackled him yet? He looked more like the captain, and for that I'll give him a 7. Perez, right, this is the best game he's had in a while. I think my opinion's probably been tainted over recent weeks, and I think I've been a little bit too harsh. Look, I know it's frustrating when he can't get that final product, and you know we forget. I saw a brilliant tweet from someone I follow, Tom Longworth, great account by the way. He cost less than 2 million. We forget that. Yeah, we want to see a bit of improvement, but I think that, you know, it's a player working hard in that team, and again goes back to the thing of lack of investment, like the defence. He was a bit of a nuisance to Wolves. He was the man of the match, plenty of touches, he played well, got that goal with a signature kind of flick on head or like a fancy footwork. Somewhere in there there is a player, and I know it's Mark's going to hate this on the podcast, but I'm going to give him an 8. I think he earned it this week, and I loved his comments about the elbow, which really should have been a penalty. You know, he won a free kick, could have got a penalty. He was trying hard for Newcastle to get that win. Rondon, brilliant, excellent game. I think it's the best we've seen him play. Bournemouth in this game up there. Both forwards were really outshining the defence in contrast to that Burnley game we had. Rondon looked well up for it. He showed the free kick when he smashed it off that bar. Comparisons to Shearer at the minute are just like rife, and his initiative to go and get that ball when he did, like, obviously miss the free kick, although it was bang on target. He went straight back in there, got the ball, drifted into Perez, and that got the goal. Really, really trying in this game. He did look hungry, and his hold-up play was spot on. 8 for Rondon as well. I think he had a great game, and Hosselu replaced him. Not really much time to judge him. Frozen out by the red card. We were really on the defence by the time he came on, but it doesn't really inspire you when he comes on. That being said, you know what? I don't have anything against Hosselu personally. Despite how this feels, I do not think this is the worst we've played ever. We were unlucky, and I know that it hurts, but the red card ended it for us. We should have hung on, because we did up until that last goal where heads just went down. What happened? Frustrating this week, I'll be honest. Chances weren't wasted, but everyone in attack was doing a great job to try and make sure we could win that game. And the fact that we obviously we went down to the goal, and statistics show that we do lose games. We did. We should have proven that wrong this week. Wolves were a team full of talent. They've got investment in there, and we let them in with 2 easy chances, and they weren't even up to 100%. Yeah, the tails were up after Chelsea, but still. You know what? It's getting tight at the bottom again. It's going to be ugly against Huddersfield and Fulham. if we don't get at least 4 points. Please don't fight, because, you know, we just need to be behind them at the minute. Special Q&A coming soon on the YouTube channel. Podcast breakdowns, we'll have previews. FIFA tournament still going. FIFA runs, sorry, not a tournament. Sorry, Aaron. There's going to be more on the channel. Hit like, subscribe. It's going to be a huge Christmas run-in. It's nearly 10 minutes for this video. Sorry, just brace yourselves. We'll get through this.